A typical sports promotion consists of a bobblehead giveaway, or mini bat day. Sometimes teams get creative, like toilet seat cushion night for when the chili dog hits, and sometimes promotions get dangerous, like the riot-inducing 10-cent beer night. But riot or not, that's just a great deal. One promotion, however, took booze and poured it all over the fire inside every disco hater in 1970s Chicago. Grab your white suits and quaaludes, this is the worst sports promotion. Comiskey Park, Chicago, July 12th, 1,979 years after you-know-what. The lowly White Sox are playing a doubleheader against the Tigers. 2 games more than Chicago fans were interested in that year. White Sox owner Bill Veeck and his son Mike, the promotions manager, figured there wasn't much they could do to get baseball fans to the stadium, so they set their sights on something people liked, something really big at the time: music. Earlier in the month, Sony debuted their Walkman in Japan, setting the stage for that stack of Weird Al cassettes in your attic. And back in March, Philips showcased a prototype for their optical digital audio disc. Sounds like communism to me, but it's safe to say this is a big year for the industry. And the powdery white crest of this wave was shimmering under the light of a hanging disco ball. The years following the release of megastar John Travolta's Saturday Night Fever saw disco music grip the top of the charts like Travolta's package in those pants. But rock fans swelled with anger. They shouted in the streets, "How dare people have a differing music taste than I?" And in a year that saw the release of AC/DC's Highway to Hell and Pink Floyd's The Wall, you'd think they'd be content listening to their records in peace out in the garage. But they weren't, not with artists like Donna Summer topping the charts. The voice of this totally justified musical unrest was a man named Steve Dahl. Dahl was a radio shock jock who lost his job at a rock station when it was turned into a disco station. So he had no reason to be mad at disco music whatsoever. Dahl was picked up by a rival rock station and used his platform to drum up an army of people focused on one thing: telling the world that disco sucks. And I have to admit, this is the kind of guy you want to bring home to mom and dad. So Mike Veeck, desperate to get bodies inside Comiskey Park, enlisted Dahl's help in developing a promotion to fill the stands. The plan was, if you bring a disco record to the game, you get in for 98 cents. A marketing ploy for Dahl, whose radio station was 97.9 WLUP. Then, in between the 2 games of the doubleheader, Dahl will blow those f***ing records up. Sounds fun, right? At its core, the promotion worked. Over 50,000 people crammed into Comiskey Park that night, up from 15,000 the day before. One of many problems, however, was that Comiskey Park only had a capacity of around 44,000, and Mike Veeck, flexing his preparation skills, hired enough security for 35,000 people. Actually, for 35,000 baseball fans. But these weren't baseball fans. It was a mix of Dahl's army of rock-hard renegades and anyone else looking to get wasted and strap a stick of dynamite to the disco world.
They got a chant here.
I don't want to turn it down.
Many of them even managed to sneak in their own liquor, because what's the point of watching things blow up without the hard stuff? They had no interest in the baseball game going on in front of them. So they chucked the empty liquor bottles, firecrackers, and any records not handed in at the gate at the men in funny clothes down on the field. Now imagine playing baseball in front of 50,000 drunk kung laos. Most surprising of all, they played the entire first game. Least surprising of all, the White Sox lost. It was time for the evening's main event. A crate of disco records rigged with explosives and a shit ton of fireworks were placed in center field, right on the grass. Even your drunk uncle has the foresight to put a piece of wood down before removing his wedding ring the hard way. Then Steve Dahl, in full army garb, drove across the field in a Jeep, presumably using the tires to flatten any divots made by the flying records. As 50,000 people chanted, "Disco sucks!" Dahl kept his promise and blew those records straight to hell, sending a message to the country that radio waves were built for guitar solos and there are no other motives for our actions. Then everyone sat back down and quietly watched the second game of the night. Oh, I mean those drunk motherfuckers topped up on adrenaline and gunpowder fumes, rushed the field, set fires, and destroyed anything they could get their hands on. Players locked themselves in the clubhouse, and Harry Carey sang "Take Me Out to the Ball Game," which, first off, was the last thing that would calm these people down, and second, is the most amazing soundtrack to rioters destroying a baseball field. Police managed to settle everything down, and when all was said and done, 39 people were arrested. The second game was forfeited since the field was not in playable condition, and the White Sox got one more tick in the loss column. It was a massive failure for baseball and the White Sox specifically, but it was a win for rock music. The following years saw a rapid decline in disco popularity, and today, radio, America's #1 source of new music, is exclusively used for America's #1 music genre, rock, topping the charts with such bands as, oh hey, Panic at the Disco. Panic indeed. Panic indeed. Thanks for watching. Let me know which records you'd like to destroy, and then send Quaaludes to the address below. Don't forget to subscribe, and when you do, I'll make a video about you. And it will be scathing.